What is the creepiest unexplained thing you have ever come across on the internet? Hey everybody, it's Em. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Story 1. As a teenager looking for explicit videos, I stumbled across a website which looked like one of those live cam sites. But then I noticed most of the people weren't engaging with the audience, and there were all kinds of people. Old people, kids, people of all different ages, ethnicities, and whatnot. I clicked on a random live stream of some oblivious teenager doing her homework, and the people in the comments were saying stuff that made me realize she didn't know she was being live streamed, nor did anyone else on the site. It seemed to be some weird website of hacked webcams or security cameras, where the people had no idea about it. It was creepy as F, and I've never kept my webcam pointed at me when not in use since. And here are a few comments. I always thought my mom was paranoid by putting band-aids over our computer cameras when I was younger, but honestly, I just don't feel safe without it anymore. Question, my webcam has a light that turns on when a camera app is opened. Do hackers know how to turn off that light? Can they? I remember when I first accessed the hidden wiki years ago, there were so many links to live, unsecured webcams available. Most of them were security cams that didn't show jack or were on a loop, but occasionally you'd come across one that had actual activity. It was all fun and games until I came across one that was like a nanny cam or laptop camera on a desk or shelf, and it showed a family going about their evening routine. And it made me sick that they didn't know their private life was open to the entire internet, and I stopped surfing cams. Okay, this is one of my all-time biggest fears, and I always make sure to hit that little button on my computer that turns off the camera. But I know realistically that this probably doesn't do much. That being said, if any of y'all see a short person eating too many potato chips, just ignore it as it's probably me rewatching Community. Story 2. I didn't come across it, but once when I was about 15, someone hacked into my computer. This is 100% true, and I tell it as a cautionary tale often. I had an FTP file server at the time, because I was in a long-distance relationship and we would send stuff to each other via the file server. One day I noticed someone had downloaded all of my photos from the server. I called my boyfriend and asked him why he was downloading stuff he already had. He swore it wasn't him. I ignored it until several days later a screen opened on my desktop that was a window from my webcam, and it was on with me on the screen. And the chat window opened. The person told me that if I didn't take all my clothes off, they would use my mom and dad's credit cards to buy all sorts of things. Luckily, my parents were super cautious of using their credit cards on the internet. This was like 2002, so I knew he didn't have their card numbers. He had used the FTP server to upload this chat and video program, and who knows how long they had been watching me. I freaked out. I unplugged my computer and unplugged it from the internet, and didn't turn it back on until I was prepared with fancy firewalls and security for the FTP server. I tried calling the police and my internet provider, but no one could help me. And that's how I learned hundreds of IP addresses and what they were. I watched my firewall like a hawk. I never heard from the hacker again, but it sure scared the crap out of me. Now I cover my webcams. It's a good thing OP's parents were so on top of it and were able to stop the hacker before they did any serious damage. People like this are the reason that I don't have my computer save any of my credit cards, because I'm terrified they'll steal it. Granted, there's only like $53 on there, but still. Story 3. Was casually surfing the web when I stumbled upon a video of a guy doing shotgun loading tutorials or something. The video was cut in half and he was speaking another language, and the gun accidentally went off, and he blew his head clean off. I don't remember the website name or anything. I was just surfing funny videos to pass the time when I saw this. The amount of blood that went flying everywhere was horrible. I was just about 11 when I saw this, so it practically scared me badly. It still chills me when I think about it. Here's a comment. This reminds me of a video I watched 2 to 3 years ago of some people live on Instagram, and they were worried about one of the people they were live streaming with. If I remember correctly, he had a mask on and a big gun. Can't remember what it was. They kept saying, "Don't do it," or "He's not gonna do it." And eventually, he blew his brains out. I remember just seeing brain matter all over his walls that he covered in tarp. Everyone in the live stream was shocked or crying. After a while, you see his mom come home and casually walk into his room, and you hear her screaming his name. in just pure agony. What made me angry were people on the site I saw commenting about how he did it to be edgy. I still vividly remember that video, unfortunately. There's so much stuff that's unfiltered on the internet that this isn't surprising. I remember hackers who would mess with kids' sites and put a pop-up on it, like Dora or something, and when they click on it, it takes them to a shady website with like naughty videos or stuff. Story 4. I rang my mom on WhatsApp to do a video call. When she answered, it was a man with his shirt off, middle-aged, like 50s, with glasses on sitting on a couch. Sort of looked like a hotel room. He had a foreign accent and said, "Yes, hello, who is this?" I hung up immediately and rang my mom again. And she picked up and she was on camera, walking around near a pond. It was absolutely bizarre and has never happened again. Here's some comments. Definitely a rare case of a complete F-up on the provider's part. I keep hoping that guy will comment something like, "I was sitting in my hotel room when a total stranger called me on WhatsApp and immediately hung up." Me too. I'd love to know what happened. I was just a bit frustrated, I guess, because I didn't dial her number. I just clicked on mum that's stored. So it wasn't like I missed dialing a number. It was your FBI agent. Story 5. Years ago, in a similar post on Reddit, someone shared a website of this mentally ill, homeless woman, formerly an engineer or developer, who lived in a tent in the woods that she'd hidden. She had access to electricity and the internet. She had her own website, and I believe even posted on Reddit. On her website, she'd write about her private life and all the crazy stuff she'd done. I think the worst was when she willingly became the private slave of some man. At some point, he tied her up in his basement, and that man would invite his friends to come over to R-word her. Eventually, word gets around town and all sorts of men show up, even some teenage boys. One thing I distinctly remember is she hated having her partners speak during private time. She posted a satellite photo of where her tent was and said if anyone could find her tent, they were welcome to come inside and play with her, but they couldn't say anything to her while they did it. Crazy stuff. Anyone remember this? Here's a comment. That sounds like someone trying to incite strangers to be a woman in the woods by providing her location in a story. That is, her kink? Story 6. Naive me got into kids chat, randomly got messaged by a guy asking if I want free toys. Childish me accepted. Then the guy led me to a 4GB folder full of random dog photos. Scrolling down a bit further, there's a few zip files. Some photos were oversaturated than the rest, others I can't even make out. She reminds me of some old creepypasta, noped out. And here's some comments. Lol, you fell for the puppy in the van trick, and it wasn't even real puppies, just pictures. I went on kids chats because I was in a lot of Save the Children Facebook groups. I pretended to be 13 and got a lot of messages from creepy 50-year-olds. It's known for being a website for pedophiles to message kids nows. It's straight up called kids chat. That's the equivalent of sending out a Batman signal to pedophiles. Story 7. One night, I was listening to music on my Alexa and playing Minecraft. Then I turned off Minecraft and then my Alexa and set off to sleep. A few minutes later, my Alexa grows a red light and plays a very loud static noise that scared the crap out of me. And here's a comment with their own story. I had an Alexa in my guest room and let my friend sleep over one night. One thing is, I forgot to disconnect my Bluetooth and I was still connected to the speaker. Anyways, at about 1 in the morning, I decided I wanted to listen to some metal, you know, as you do. I started this album by Daughters called You Won't Get What You Want, but no sound was coming out of my phone. I turned the volume all the way up, still nothing. Decided to pause it, then get a text from my friend, horrified, saying my Alexa just made the most terrifying sound ever. I never told him what happened. Here's what he heard blasting at full volume at 1 a.m. Geez, OP, I'm sorry, but this might deserve to go in Am I the Butthole? Because you honestly sound like one. I'm sure it seemed funny, but I know if that happened to me, I'd be petrified. Story 8. Somehow, someone guessed my name correctly in a 4chan thread. I didn't even give any clues to who I was. Still don't know who or how they did it. And here's some comments. Hey Jacob, so we will meet again. Nice to see you, Esteban Julio Ricardo Montoyo de la Rosa Ramirez. I was once reading a tongue-in-cheek article about paranoia and included a sentence like, they're watching everyone, even you, username. The very next sentence said that they picked a name at random, but all the people with that username out there must have shattered so many bricks. Fun part about not having a common name, this type of crap never works. Story 9. I was 12, alone in my room, casually browsing YouTube on my old laptop, when suddenly a jump scare opened on a completely different tab on Chrome. I still remember my webcam's light blinking. I was so terrified that I wasn't able to use my laptop alone for a good 6 to 7 months, lol. And here's some comments. You definitely got hacked by some dumb hacker there. Camera to catch reaction. Probably he scrapped a montage and posted it in a sketchy site for hackers and those tech rebels. I would have been scared less because I'm not good with jump scares. I rather don't bat an eye or be hyperventilating for like 10 minutes straight. No in between. Story 10. My girlfriend and I have a private Minecraft world that we played by opening a LAN party using Hamachi when we lived far away from each other. This requires the other player to enter the designated IP address and LAN code. Keep in mind the LAN code changed every time you play Minecraft to enter the multiplayer game. One day we were on a call playing when we saw an unrecognized gamer tag join the game. We went dead silent out of a shock, I think. We then saw him run across the grass toward us, so we both quit out immediately before he could chase us. It was pretty creepy, even though it's just a video game. Something about the invasion was just off-putting. The dude coming straight towards them reminded me of the movie Get Out, where the gardener just starts bolting at the main character before he randomly changed directions. Story 11. So I decided to just type in something like, .com or something like it. Coca-Cola used to, or still does, own a URL like that. Just the same letter maybe 13 or 15 times. It came to a choppy video of a movie called South 32. It was cryptic and edited to just say South 32 over and over again for 4 hours. So I tried a different letter. Same thing, and another letter, same thing. The same website popped up for maybe 20 different URLs in that type of sequence. I tried submitting it to the Internet Mystery subreddit, but it didn't get any traction, and I don't believe it works anymore. This must have been 4 years ago now. Story 12. This happened last month. I was watching random stuff on YouTube when suddenly I started listening to two guys talking with the calm music in the background. One of the guys had a strong Russian accent. They seemed to be playing something. I thought it was some YouTube video I opened, but it wasn't. I started to close everything until everything was closed. There was only Steam open, but I wasn't in any voice chat or anything, and no media was playing, like Stream or anything like that. It seemed to be some private call I got in. So I closed Steam and the two guys stopped talking. So I guess somehow I got into a random Steam private voice call. Story 13. This used to happen in the 90s with landlines and cordless phones. You'd be having a conversation, and then you could hear someone else's phone conversation, sometimes really clearly, and most of the time they wouldn't hear you. Always made me wonder how many people heard conversations of mine without me knowing. And here's some comments. Discord has been said to have serious security problems, so I wouldn't be surprised if your FBI agent turned in. Lol. I named mine Jimmy, and I rapped to him in the car. Story 14. Up late one night scrolling through Reddit. Came across a post where someone confessed to killing a classmate of theirs, totally casually. Actually ended up having a conversation with this person. They were 100% dead serious about the situation, but feel they weren't at fault for the death of the person. Pretty creepy. Not sure if it was actually true, but if not, they did a pretty good job at making it seem legit. And here are two comments. The guy who let the kid freeze to death because they were drunk? Whoa, what's the story here? So, I did a bit of digging and found the story, and the gist of it is that these kids got drunk and decided to lock their friend out in the cold, and just thought it was funny and forgot, and the kid ended up dying. I'm not sure if they ever got punished for it, though. Story 15. A lady on Guy Online got mad at me in a chatterbox, so she went on my profile and spammed it with gifs of someone beating a dog to death with a shovel. Remember seeing the first one and crying a lot, because at the time I was like 11 or 12. She sent like 10 before I got her blocked and later banned. I had to manually delete each comment from my public profile. Each GIF was from a different point in the same video. It was really sad, and I didn't go back to my PC for a long time. Here's a comment saying what I think we're all thinking. Holy crap, that's very effed up. Story 16. This is a cool thread. I'll add that before Tumblr banned NSFW content, I used to see anorexia encouragement that consisted of ideal bodies and just horrible body dysmorphia. I followed a guy that did crack and saw jarring videos of someone smoking meth and doing cocaine immediately after. I saw one post of someone on heroin, then doing Xanax. Absolutely terrible synergy, by the way. They were being recorded, and I just remember the eyes rolling back and flopping over. Tumblr was a strange place. I want to know if someone else ventured down there. Story 17. I read Kyle O'Dom's manifesto here. Basically, he was this mentally ill ex-Marine who was convinced he was being telepathically manipulated by aliens. He believed their main hideout was in this church, and he had to kill the leader to make it stop. He ended up firing an entire clip of hollow point bullets into the back of the preacher of that church. The preacher made a full recovery, which was deemed a miracle, and Kyle O'Dom was arrested throwing his manifesto across the White House fence. This is all a true story if you look him up. The way this comment made it sound like the dude only got arrested for throwing the manifesto, and if that's the case, that's seriously messed up. It is a real miracle the preacher survived. Now, is it because of faith, medicine, or that he's an alien? Story 18. I changed the email address attached to my Amazon account. A year later, I forgot and tried to send into my account with an old email address. The same password worked, but it was someone else's account. Name and address was different. The guy hadn't bought anything. Why did he use my old email? It was unique to me and didn't match his name. And how did the password end up the same as mine? Here's a comment explaining it. Your Amazon account was probably made public in a data dump. Story 19. I was surfing Imgur Newest about 4 years ago and came across a post that was a male body laying in a wooded area. The other people commenting on the post were also reporting it. The user had never posted anything else, so I reported the user and the post. The post was gone the next day, and I made comments about it on Imgur every once in a while, and my comments would always be magically deleted. So I guess I saw a real dead body, and I'm not allowed to talk about it on Imgur. Story 20. There was a sub about methods of switching universes in the multiverse. The sub had a number in the sidebar, and people would swear that they successfully switched universes because the number was different, or a partner had a scar they didn't before, stuff like that. Anyway, it just stopped. No word as to why, no nothing. Everyone just stopped posting and commenting all of a sudden. Sadly, I cannot for the life of me remember the name of the sub. I'm pretty sure this is called shifting. I've seen it online a lot, and lots of people claim to have done it, and know things that they honestly shouldn't have known. Or they got to go and see other realities. Honestly, it sounds pretty cool. I think if I could, I'd go to a reality where I could eat unlimited pizza. Story 21. Redditor user Fat and Depressed had an app that took photos of everyone that came to his house. He got loads in a row, often way after midnight, but no one in the photos. Then suddenly in one of the photos, he saw this freaking thing. Here are comments. That's great. I didn't need sleep anyway. Can you link the image? I can't open it. Story 22. My girlfriend at the time texted me a link to a local news article involving a trial taking place that day. At the top of the article was a picture of my girlfriend sitting in the courtroom. I expressed surprise since she had mentioned going to court. She definitely would have told me. And then in anticipation of it, asked me a bunch of questions, as I am in the legal field. She responded, "That's not me. We never did find out who it was." OP, it sounds like your girlfriend is a doppelganger. Story 23. The time I fell on a file hosting website with different videos claiming to be hidden cameras in various spots. IRC, it included stuff like Disneyland bathrooms and other stuff like this. I never downloaded a file to check if it was true voyeurism, but I directly reported it to the authorities because if it's true stuff, then it's really messed up. Story 24. I'm not sure if this has been explained, but I remember discovering a YouTube channel which went by the name of Robert Helpman. The channel has various videos of a body bag, seemingly with something inside of it, which is referred to as Daisy. I came across it when I was young, and it terrified me. I'm actually not too sure about this one. Maybe it's just a troll who thinks it's funny to scare people. Either that or something much more nefarious is going on. What do you think? Story 25. A few days after we got an Alexa, my wife and I were playing around by asking random questions to see what she'd say. We asked her to tell us a story. Without missing a beat, she said, "There is a disfigured child in the basement calling for help." Story 26. I modded Discord servers for a while. Users send you all sorts of shock stuff when you ban them. Typically stuff like gay private videos that doesn't make me blink twice. One guy sent me a home video of someone being beheaded. Wasn't ready for that. Story 27. A guy screwing a sea bass. No joke. Then somebody commented Animal Crossing players. Somebody else commented he slapped a bass. Look, commenter, don't disrespect Animal Crossing like that. That game got me through my childhood and COVID. I never was able to complete filling the museum though. Story 28. In the post above this one, I just read a 2-paragraph comment about how to properly seduce a female dolphin. Story 29. Humanbeef.com. I tried to find it on the Wayback Machine to no avail. It was super creepy though. Story 30. Darn it, when will I learn my darn lesson and stop browsing these freaking threads? Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.